All right, Krug Show Monday night. Dieter is in the house. Are the Niners going to make a trade for a defensive lineman? Looking at some of the numbers, it tells you they probably should. Who makes sense? We'll discuss it right now. Let's go. Been running on the Krug Show. Dieter in the house. It's Monday night. Hope everybody's having a great Monday night. The Chiefs aren't. They lost to the Jaguars. And Trevor Lawrence is not a good quarterback, but he won tonight.
4-1, baby. How bad could he be? He's got the Garoppolo magic.
Yeah, he was bad tonight, but he won. And the Jaguars won. And maybe the Niners shouldn't feel quite as bad about losing to the Jaguars because the Jaguars just beat Kansas City. But we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And they do run out. So get there early, get some brisket chili. Tell them Krug sent you. We're also brought to you by Claw Daddy Arcades. They're a great follow on Instagram at Claw_Daddy_Arcades to find a location near you. They got a brand new location in Capitola Mall that is open as we speak, and they got another one coming shortly down in Visalia Mall. So thanks to them, and also thanks to Sharp Corners Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California. Along the Monterey Peninsula, the great Anthony Catania is at 831-521-5264. And we'll do a sleeper lineup in a bit. We've been red hot on sleeper. I mean, seriously, nice. We're making sleeper lineups look just cake, like just absolute easy. We're just going through it. We're winning almost every single week. So we'll do that here in a minute. But first, let's get into the 49ers after 5 weeks. They're 4-1.
How are they 4-1, Larry? I don't understand what's happening, but you'll take it.
They're 4-1. And you know, it's how are they 4-1?
What are they good at? What is this team good at? Like legit, like I ask somewhat like jokingly, but also kind of legitimately, if you were to like plant your flag right now, what is it that the San Francisco 49ers 4-1 are good at?
I think they're getting high level quarterback play from two different quarterbacks.
I think that's fair.
And I think that their play caller is very motivated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think their defense, you know, their defensive coordinator is one of the best in the biz. Mm-hmm. And individual downs he takes away, a number of plays throughout the course of a football game. He has an ability to take away a series here or there by his blitz packages. I think there's a really good vibe on defense. And there's some good athletes on defense. I mean, you don't do it in the NFL without athletes on defense. And the Niners do have good athletes on defense. Most notably, they're getting great linebacker play from Fred Warner and D. Winters. And their third down defensive line has produced as well, at least when they had Bosa.
Right. Now
they don't have Bosa. And that kind of leads us to the beginning of our discussion here, which is, what are the Niners going to do now that they don't have Nick Bosa? Now, one of the things that jumped out is the Niners' pass defense EPA per play with and without Bosa is startling. Weeks 1 and 2 with Bosa, they were the third best defense as far as EPA per play. Weeks 3, 4, and 5 without Nick Bosa, for the most part, they fell from 3rd to 26th in the NFL. So that's not nearly the same defense without Bosa. And now the question is, what are they going to do? John Lynch made the comment, hey, we need to kind of earn our ability to make a trade. In other words, there's a lot of football between now and next month's NFL trade deadline, and there's no real reason on trading draft capital if you're not one player away. You're just kind of wasting your draft capital for the future on a futile effort to contend in 2025 if the team has, continues to lose games or whatever. If they hit a rough patch, I think Lynch is basically trying to say to the locker room, hey, look, if you guys win more games like you did this week against the Rams, then I'm gonna probably make a move and add a piece to the puzzle. But if over the next 4 or 5 games, you lose 3 of them and you start losing more guys to injury, maybe you get to the end of October and there's no way in hell you're going to trade draft capital for anything in the present. So I think that's really what he's saying. What was your read on his commentary?
I think that is a good politically correct way to phrase it. We're not going to act desperate. We're not going to go out here and admit that we're not good. It positions John Lynch to always be right. Like you earn your ability to make a trade, but isn't a team that can't earn some team that actually needs to make a trade? Like he's never wrong because it's this vague statement of nothing. Either way, he's going to come out on top. And ultimately, I think that's kind of where the Niners are going to end up. Like they will make an effort, but they won't actually put serious capital into going out and getting the kind of player that this team, the 2025 team, probably needs because they're very expensive, both fiscally with the cash outlay and contracts and all that, but also in draft capital. And this is what they have phrased as and are very adamant is the start of a rebuild or year 2 of a rebuild. And you don't go and you take the most precious commodity this team has, at least in the front office's mind, is these draft picks in 2026, because that should be those, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 picks should be the final pieces of the puzzle to create that foundation of players that makes this team a perennial contender with obviously the high-end players that they've already given money to and some guys who will graduate into that level in the not too distant future. So I think they're going to be cagey about it. I think that they're going to be probably overly prudent. Get this, a Kyle Shanahan team might be overly conservative when it comes to something. It's just good lip service. It gets us going, right? Our minds are going 1,000 miles per hour. Who could they get? Who could they get? And then it ends up being Cleve Farrell. Well, they made a move though. So I just think that the Niners' intent coming into this season was about setting themselves up for 26. And I don't think that I think that no matter what has happened so far, even in this somewhat bizarre and fortunate, but incredible scenario that they've made for themselves, right? They could play like 500 football the rest of the way and easily make the playoffs. This start, I think, does nothing to encourage them to further or to jeopardize that future that they're so adamant about, because it can kind of work both ways. Well, they're not good enough to win the Super Bowl. If you make a trade, you're good enough to win the Super Bowl, perhaps. You get the right player, right place, right price. You can maybe go and be a serious contender in an NFC that looks wide open to anyone who's been paying attention. But also, do you want to jeopardize 26? I just don't think that they're going to change their strike.
I mean, I don't even believe in the 26 thing at all.
It doesn't matter if you and I believe in it, Larry. I'm telling you, full stop, they believe in it to their core.
There's no evidence of that.
What are you talking about? They've openly spoken about this dozens of times.
Quote it.
Well, I should bring. Let me get my binder.
I don't believe it, because here's the thing: why would you set yourself up for 26 when the best player on your team could retire after 25?
Because they have been made assured by Trent Williams, for whatever that's worth, that he's going to play out the rest of his contract.
Are they going to want him in 25? Are they going to want him in 26?
That's a better question. Now that's fair. That's fair.
I mean,
given the state of tackle play, yes.
26. The reason I don't buy the 26 is because nobody's better in 26 of the guys that matter. Because the guys that matter are Kittle, CMC, Trent, Demo. These are the guys that matter. These are.
I don't
the
know
best
why Demo wouldn't
team.
be better in 26. Demo's still a very young player.
Well, why is he better? I mean, he's in his prime right now. I mean, to me, he looks like he's absolutely in his prime.
You think this is as good as Demo can get? I mean, I do.
I think Demos plays an ultimate physical position. I think corners are prime is earlier than other guys. I just think that Trent, Kittle, Bosa, Juice, McCaffrey, and others. I mean, Fred, they're not going to be better next year. So they might be as good, possibly they could be better next year, but there's no real reason they should be. They're all on the wrong side of they're all in the twilight of their career, and they're getting every day that goes by, they're getting further and further away from the
you missed a guy though.
Prime. Who's that?
13. The guy that they just gave $250 million to theoretically.
Yeah, but I mean, even him, I mean, there's no real reason he should be better next year than this year. I mean, other than now, now we have knowledge about this toe, but I mean, coming into this year, there was nothing about Brock Purdy that said, yeah, you know what? It's all about next
quarterbacks
year.
Peak at 25. That's news to me.
No, but I mean, I'm not saying that he's peaking. I'm just saying that, he's in his prime right now. To me, his prime is right now. Now, not everybody's prime is right now. I mean, and who knows where it all goes. I mean, we don't know how his toe heals. We don't know how his career goes.
Of course.
I mean, some guys don't. Steve Young, we talked about just, earlier, he wasn't anything until he was 31, so I mean, that's a number of years from now for Brock Purdy, but that doesn't mean that he's going to be better at 31. It just means that Steve was better at 31. I just
don't understand how we can play it both sides, where we say like Fred Warner and Diamador Lenore, they couldn't possibly get, that this is as good as they're going to be, but Brock Purdy can't increase too. It has to work both ways. Guys have to be coming up. Guys have to be going down.
Get better. I mean, I'm not
think that's
saying
what
these
they're
guys
banking
can't get better, but there's no reason. You went to a Super Bowl, with Brock Purdy, and he played well in that Super Bowl.
Yep.
So I would say he's in his prime.
Well, then you don't give him that contract, which I know is a different conversation.
Positions. They're different positions. I mean, I do think Brock Purdy will probably get better, but there's no guarantees, I guess is the question.
That's a fair point. There's no guarantees. So why are you looking to next year? Yeah. That's a fair question to ask.
And also,
I think it's because they know that this year's ceiling is much lower than true bona fide Super Bowl contention. They can get in the mix and make something happen. They can shock a couple people, but I think that they knew that the talent level of this team was such that, hey, they openly took a step back from the talent level year over year. They pushed all their chips to the middle of the table for 2024, and then they said, well, we're not doing that again. We're pulling it back a bit now, and add in 24, get a little bit better on 25, and here's the trajectory. Now they're right back to where they want to be in 26 and beyond. If the argument is, well, this is as good as it's going to be for all of these fundamental players, which I'll hear that argument. I'm not disagreeing with the argument, save for the Purdy thing, because that feels fundamental to their argument. But if all this is the best, then they should have gotten rid of all those guys too. They should have sold high on those guys.
Well, you can't get rid of your whole team. I mean,
they tried. There was only so much further to go. They could have.
They didn't trade anybody though.
They traded Deebo Samuel. He's a pretty big player.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, they didn't really trade anybody. I personally don't think much of what Deebo had left.
Oh, I agree. They traded him 1 year too late.
I'm just saying
the one
that
in the paper advocating that they traded him before 24.
If you have Trent Williams this year, you might not have him next year.
Correct.
I mean, there's nothing.
You might not have him the rest of this year.
But there's nothing about that I've seen from you do have him this year. But you may not have him next year. And from what I've seen of him, he doesn't seem like he's getting better. No. I think if the plan is to try to, plan for the future and have him be your left tackle, I don't know. I don't love that. I don't love that. And also, I mean, Kittle's starting to break down. Mm-hmm. Warner, I mean, these guys are all right there. They could. Oh yeah. They couldn't possibly have more than, I don't know. I mean, Warner, CMC, Kittle, Bosa. I think these guys all have like 2 really good years left, maybe. Yeah. And I would not feel really comfortable that any of those guys have 3 years left. It's speculative. So I don't believe in this whole, planning in football, because what are you planning for? The year that you're playing, you could have this master plan that you just never gets off the ground, because the year you can't be that. You got to be more fluid and flexible than that. You can't be like, we're setting it up for 26, because what if you get 2 weeks into 26 and you're super hurt? Now you've ruined basically your whole window to win a Super Bowl. I think you got to go just you just try to win a Super Bowl every year. You have the head coach, the quarterback, and a decent core. And that's what they have this year. They get the head coach, they get the quarterback. They actually have two quarterbacks.
Right.
And they have a decent core.
But along those lines, though, like the idea of you're always all in, and whatever needs to be done to maintain that level of all in must be done. Then you end up like the Saints, and the Saints aren't going anywhere anytime soon. But for 10 straight years, they kicked the can down the road with the salary cap, and they just said whatever. And now they have to keep bad players on their team because they can't fiscally remove themselves from them, because they've mortgaged those contracts so many times over that no one's going to buy it off of them. And that's the situation that I think the Niners saw themselves in. And we can disagree on if that's a prudent position to attack or to, avoid. But ultimately, then, with the cash outlay that they removed from their books moving forward, it made it pretty clear that they did not think that they could win the Super Bowl in 2025. Which means, okay, when can you win the Super Bowl? And they think
I disagree. I just think they needed a reset. I think they financially had to hit a reset, and they got rid of players that some they wanted to get rid of, some it was time to go. Like, I don't think they really badly wanted to get rid of Mooney, but it was time to get
rid of Leonard Floyd, who is going to count the exact same against the cap one way or one way or another. It was strictly
I don't think they liked what he brought to the table. I mean, he was a guy that didn't play a complete game. And also, he wasn't necessarily tied to this coordinator, and maybe this coordinator didn't want him.
It cost you the same amount to have him or not.
I hear you, but here's the thing. Name me a team in football that has both their franchise quarterback and the coach that they want, and they're not going for it this year, and they are going for it in future years.
Arizona.
I don't think they're really. You think their head coach? I don't even know if their head coach is going to make it to the holidays.
I mean,
he may not make it to tomorrow. He punched one of his players on the sideline yesterday, who didn't do what he wanted to do. Okay, so I mean that would be your answer. It would be Arizona. I mean,
I'm just going through. You throwing something at me at the top of the top of my head.
I'm just saying, like,
Houston.
If you have your quarterback that
Houston's
you like,
going for it.
I don't know if they're
Dallas going for it. I don't know.
Dallas is definitely not going for it.
Well, they hired Brian Schottenheimer. Why would you hire him unless you thought he was good?
But I mean, they're not going for it. They just sold off on their best defensive player.
Are the Bears going for it?
No.
This is the standard. I mean, it's just the question of, are you going for it or not? And then that's subjective. Like, is Atlanta going for it?
Everybody's trying to win. I'm just saying, if you think about teams that would be in the Super Bowl hunt.
That's a false premise, because now you get to reverse engineer it. If you are in the Super Bowl hunt, therefore you have the right head coach and you have the right quarterback.
Well, not necessarily. You could just be off to a hot start. I mean, you could, you may
not.
Who's
an example of that? I mean, what we?
Well, some people don't think the Niners have the quarterback. There's a lot of people that don't think that Brock Purdy is a top tier quarterback, and yet, the Niners do. And I do. I mean, I know there's a number of Niner fans that do. I'm just saying, it's pretty rare that you have. Usually, if you're not going for it, it's because you don't have the pieces. But if you do have the head coach and you do have the quarterback, most teams that have the head coach and the quarterback are going for it this year, and they're not saying, well, next year we'd like to set it up for ourselves. I just don't think the 49ers are setting themselves up for next year, because I don't think they're better next year. I think they could be quite a bit worse next year, because I don't think Trent Williams is. Oh God! Now they're showing Gannon. I guess he apologized to Mercado.
Oh, well, I would have
punched him too. Absolutely irate.
It's legitimately the dumbest play in football.
Oh my God. And he did kind of hit him
too. I'd hit him.
He says, I let the moment of what happened get the better of me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, dude, you're a better man than I would have lost it. I would have cut the guy right then and there. I'd probably cut him today.
Yeah.
Mercado. I mean, seriously, you don't need Mercado. I mean, that's a guy you make an example of and you cut and say,
would you send Mercado to the market, Larry? Is that where
I would say I would cut Mercado and just say, hey, you know what? Let that be a lesson to the other guys.
Yeah.
This is not how we play football. This is not how we do it. And it was inexcusable. It was absolutely pathetic.
It's the dumbest play in football. It's an epidemic, by the way. I remember that was something that, because of Leon Lett, no one would ever do, right? Like that was
Don Beebe in the Super Bowl.
Correct. 15 years of just no one's going to do that nonsense. And now it seems like it happens like once a week.
I saw it in the Utah game last year. Chad Johnson did it in a bowl game against Notre Dame, I believe. We've seen it a handful of times, and every time
it doesn't even look cool if you get across the line.
Like, I know.
Like, what are you doing?
It's like, what are you
doing? Take the ball and throw it 500 yards into the stands. That would be better than what you do. Like, if you need to remove the ball from your hands, take it, get into the end zone, and then chuck it as far as you can, and we'll take the 15 yards. Or, here's a wild idea, follow the Nick Saban rule of the ball always goes to the referee. And if the ball doesn't go to the referee, you don't play. It's pretty simple. Hand the ball to the referee. That's how every play should end. Or you can touch it down, literally. I don't know. I just think it's unbelievable how stupid that is. And the fact that guys keep doing it without any provocation is a kind of, it makes me question the state of the American collegiate system that these guys are all coming from. That's where I'm at.
People saying Gannon punched Mercado. I mean, I don't know if I
No. Alfred Collins punched Kyron Williams. There's a big difference. Like, that's a punch.
Woody Hayes punched Charlie Bowman.
Right.
Back on the sidelines in the Clemson Ohio State game back when I was 8 years old.
These people know that we're doing professional football, right? Like they understand that this is an inherently violent game with generally violent men. But whatever. If y'all want to get up in a tizzy about it, knock yourselves out.
Well, so where what are the Niners going to do here trade wise? Lynch is like, hey, we got to earn our right to make a trade. In other words, challenging the locker room to help them get through the next 4 or 5 games before the trade deadline. The trade deadline is after week 9. We're in week 5 right now, heading into week 6. So we're still a few weeks away. Trey Hendrickson's name has been thrown out there. I think that one makes sense because I think they are going to trade him. Jeffrey Simmons' name has been thrown out there. He's a monster. I don't know why Tennessee would trade him. And then there's other guys as well. And then you're also looking at a bunch of teams that I don't think, it's like people saying, like Max Crosby to the Niners. Just stop right there. Mark Davis is not going to trade the face of the Raider franchise to the Niners. So what are we even talking about?
They just signed him.
Yeah, they just signed him. Even if they hadn't just signed him, even if they were in the middle of a contract impasse, Mark Davis would rather never eat at P.F. Chang's again than send him to the 49ers. So that's not happening. I don't think Kayvon Thibodeau's coming either, or DeMarcus or Dexter Lawrence, because I don't think the Giants are going to be in a trade mode. I think they're trying to save their jobs. So I don't think they're trading. So, the number of teams that are going to sell at the trade deadline, I think is a really, really low number. Mm-hmm. And so that's like, if you said, well, who's likely to sell? This is who I think is a seller. The Jets. The Jets are a seller for sure.
Yeah.
I would say maybe the Browns.
Maybe
the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Raiders, but not to the Niners.
Right. Maybe the Ravens.
I would say no, but maybe. New Orleans, sure. Definitely. And who knows if
Miami.
Miami possibly. If Arizona circled the drain in the next month because of what happened yesterday, I could see them blowing the whole thing up, or at least blowing out Gannon and maybe doing something. Who knows? But that's it. There's not a lot of teams selling,
right?
And there's going to be a number of teams buying. You would think, because there's a number of teams that have needs, and John Lynch has kind of popularized the midseason trade. So, there's not a ton of quality players out there that they can get, which means, the laws of supply and demand are that, you're probably, the speculation on guys like Trey Hendrickson is like, a third round pick and a day 3 pick. What? No way. No way. It's going to cost way more than that. Just on this, it should on supply and demand alone. Shouldn't it cost quite a bit more than that? How do you see this decision coming together? Who are you an advocate for at this juncture?
I mean, I'm an advocate for getting the best possible player, because if you're going to do it, I think that everyone's going to be prohibitively expensive. So if you're going to actually engage in such conversations, if you're going to actually play the ball game, make sure you come away with the best player available, because you're paying over ticket price no matter what. So I'm all about Simmons. He is unquestionably the best player available if he is in fact available, which I'm with you. I think there should be some serious skepticism. But if Tennessee looks at this market, they understand, okay, how many years do we have? Like, does Tennessee think that they have enough talent? In which case they should just fire their coach and bring somebody new in right now, if they think there's enough talent on this roster to be better than they are. If they think it's a roster and coaching issue, then imagine what you could do in a total seller's market for a Simmons. But again, it's a total seller's market. So are the San Francisco 49ers, and just going through the NFC. This is just the NFC when we're talking about defensive line. Washington, unquestionably in the ballgame there. Detroit, unquestionably in the ballgame there. Minnesota, I think, is in the ballgame there. Chicago would be in the ballgame there. Tampa Bay, just watch them for the last 5 hours. They'd be in the ballgame for a defensive end. They're very good at tackle. They need defensive ends. I think Atlanta is probably not fully confident in the young guys that they brought in. They could replace a Leonard Floyd. The Rams and the Seahawks are in good shape. That's cool. The Eagles can probably make the argument that they're in good shape. Packers can make the argument they're in good shape. That's about it when we're talking about impact defensive linemen on the marketplace. That's just the NFC. If Tennessee's like, we're only trading Jeffrey Simmons to the NFC, you're competing with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams at the minimum for one player, maybe 2 or 3 of a high caliber. We didn't even get 3 in the headline here, right? It's 2 high caliber players and then Carl Granderson, in my opinion. Like, that is going to be exorbitantly expensive, more so than the Christian McCaffrey cost a couple of years ago, which was a couple seconds and a couple thirds to kind of amalgamate one first-round pick. Add a couple more onto that, because defensive ends kind of like running backs, but not entirely like running backs. Defensive players in general, or defensive linemen in general, rather plug and play. You feel confident that you can get them in there and have an impact early, and then build them into a full stack player. A lot of rotation, particularly when you talk about the Niners. They're given 40, 45 snaps at the most to their defensive linemen. Even Bosa isn't out there for a full 60, 65, 70 complement. So I just think that the price is probably going to be way too high for San Francisco to engage. But if we are to personally engage on the notion that the Niners are going for this thing, that they're in it to win it, you're going to be paying 20, 30% premium. Come away with somebody who you can at least go to sleep at night thinking, well, that's what it costs to get Jeffrey Simmons. Because if you go and get Carl Granderson at a 20, 30% premium, now all you're doing is jeopardizing your future for the sake of what? Could be another Chase Young situation. I'm sorry, what was, yeah, Chase Young, defensive end. They went out and got 2 defensive ends that year. Neither of them did squat for him. Yeah, that was not great. I think if you're in it, you got to be in it to win it. And you can win with Hendrickson, yes, though I'm a little skeptical about Hendrickson. I think you're definitely winning with Simmons.
Simmons is a talent. There's no question. Butthead says Chiefs are selling, trade for Chris Jones. Why are the Chiefs selling?
They're not.
Chiefs are not selling Chris Jones. I think it's
the
highly
one guy
unlikely.
They wouldn't. I mean, it's Mahomes and Jones. Everyone else, I mean, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think they're selling Chris
They're
Jones.
definitely not selling. We can say stuff on the internet. That doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah.
Take it from
Let's see. This is an interesting little tweet somebody had on Chris Jones. Easton Free says Jeffrey Simmons generated a season-high 6 pressures and 1.5 sacks on 35 pass rushes, 17.1 pressure rate against the Cardinals in Week 5. Simmons was doubled on only 37.1% of pass rushes, his lowest double-team rate of the season. He capitalized, recording 5 quick pressures in the game, tied for a career high. It's one. What do you think? I mean, I know Simmons is a big time talent. He can play inside. He can play outside. He's like a Chris Jones. I mean, he's just a beast. He can play pretty much anywhere. But then the question is, what do the 49ers really need? What's their need? They drafted CJ West. They drafted Mikael Williams, who's better inside. They drafted Alfred Collins. Are you really, if you get Simmons, doesn't he block those guys? I mean, would you rather have the tackle or the end at this?
You'd rather have the end, but what you need is an impact player who fucks shit up in a backfield. That's what you need. And maybe Trey Hendrickson can do that for you. I'm not the biggest Trey Hendrickson guy in general. You can run at him. There's a lot of stuff in the contract situation is so messy. And so if you're paying a premium for a guy who you're just straight up renting, that's an expensive rental for a guy who is unquestionably a very, very good player. But is he the kind of differentiation player? It's very Zadarius Smith going to the Lions last year. You're like, I guess you needed a defensive end. I don't know if that was the one you need. What you need is a Mount Rushmore player. What you need is somebody who, when the opposing offensive coordinator wakes up on a Monday morning at 3 a.m. and pours his 14th cup of coffee by 10, he hasn't stopped thinking about what the hell to do about that guy. And that's not Trey Hendrickson. It is Jeffrey Simmons. It is Nick Bosa. That's what they need. If there's one thing that's been proven this season, it's that Robert Saleh will figure it out. He will figure out how to put players in positions to succeed. It's a lot easier when you have one guy who will succeed every snap. They had that in Bosa. All he did was win for 2.5 weeks. Now they don't have that. They need that again. And if that's a tackle, so be it. If it's an end, so be it. If it's a 4-eye technique, somewhere right in the middle, so be it, because Robert Saleh has shown that he is flexible. He's shown that he's pragmatic, and he's shown that he can really dial it up if he has one dude that he can count on. Much in the same way you look at the Niners offensive line where they just leave Trent Williams out on an island. Well, the other 4 we can work with so long as we have this bookend covered every single time. And obviously that's in a bit of flux right now. They don't have that on the defensive line. They need just an ass kicker, one of the high caliber ass kickers, which I think there's one available, and he might not even be available. His name is Jeffrey Simmons.
Is he available? That was my next question. Do you think he's available?
Anyone's available for the right price, and the right price is preposterous, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. Here's my thing: I don't want to move the 26th first-round pick because I think it has to be an offensive tackle. I think it has to be earmarked for offensive tackle. So I don't want to move that 26th first-round pick.
Dangerous earmarking picks if you're the San Francisco 49ers, for what it's worth.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like,
I believe the last time they did that, they passed one McCorkle Jones.
You got to plan for the tackle. I mean, it's
a great tackle class from what I can surmise, by the way.
I mean, whether it is or isn't, I mean, there's some really good players. I like the Auburn kid quite a bit, but I mean, and the Utah combo's all, pretty good. There's some guys for sure. And Caden Proctor from Alabama is an incredible athlete.
Proctor's the guy. I think he's actually going to be there in the 20s too, because of he's messy. He's messy as an offensive lineman, but he is a premier athlete. I think that he's on the. They lined him up as a fullback, and they ran him a couple times last week. It was awesome.
He is a major talent. He's on the Bruce Feldman's freaks list.
There you go.
Caden Proctor is he's really, really a special player. And I that's a guy that I could see them going for sure.
Right.
But that you think he's going to be there in the 20s. I think he's probably going to be gone in the top 10. He's 6'7", 366 pounds.
He very well could be. I'm not saying that that's not possible for him, but having watched
This guy's the freakiest strength guy there is. He squatted 815 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
He benched 535.
Mm-hmm.
He power cleans 405.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's.
But his hands are always wrong when he's playing offensive line. I mean, if we were doing World's Strongest Man, he'd be in a great position. But here we are. Isaiah World out of Oregon is another great one.
Yeah, the tackle.
I haven't watched the Auburn kid yet, but I've watched the Oregon kid. He's been really outstanding. Both of the Utah bookends are fantastic. Francis Mauigoa, the Miami kid, is very, very impressive as well. It's a great offensive tackle class. And when you add in, team needs, I guess everyone needs a tackle, right? But you add in some serious quarterback talent too, where you're probably going to have Mendoza and Moore, and who knows with LSU, and who knows with Sellers, and there's a lot of guys there, great wide receivers. It might just be such a good class at such premier first-round positions, right? So we're not talking about center, and we're not talking about defensive tackle, though Peter Woods could go very high. That maybe an offensive tackle falls. Yeah. But like Reuben Bain could go one easily. You get a run on quarterbacks, and then, okay, you're getting the fourth or the fifth best offensive tackle at, let's say, 23. Okay, well, fine. The fourth or fifth best offensive tackle in this class might be Caden Proctor, might not be, might be one of the Utah kids, might be the kid from Miami, all that. But you're getting one of those guys. That's a massive upgrade over what we saw last year, where you're taking Kelvin Banks in the top 10. All of these guys on very, very, very early preliminary stuff. And again, I haven't watched it with the intent yet, much less, the kid from Auburn. Just haven't even seen him yet. Have had no reason to watch an Auburn game, who, by the way, can't seem to protect the quarterback. Isn't that interesting?
His name's Xavier Chaplin. 6'7", 340. I really like him. The other guy I like Jennings Dunker, the gigantic right tackle for Iowa.
Okay.
He's interesting. He's a brawler, super tough brawler type guy. There's a lot of good ones. So I would say there's probably going to be maybe 6 offensive tackles that go in the first round.
I think that lends itself to taking one in the early 20s, or taking some of your picks and moving up if you have to. So I'm with you on bookmarking it for tackle of the future. I'm all in on bookmarking it for tackle of the future. That said, they really do believe in their offensive line coach, and you can't go draft a Jeffrey Simmons. Not at 20-something. Not at 20-something. Not that guy. Not where he is right now. Nope. He's one of them.
Yeah, I mean, you're not getting Simmons in the 20s for sure.
No.
Okay, so that's who you want. If you were guessing who they would go after, what are you thinking?
A vague Jets retread, or somebody that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have shook hands with before. Perhaps even spent a meeting room time together. Like, whatever the least exciting option is, mark me down for that, Lair.
I think the one that makes sense, like, some years you go after the best guy out there, right? And you get Christian McCaffrey. Other years you get Charles Omenihu, right? You get
that was a great trade for what it's worth.
A depth piece. Sometimes you don't need. Sometimes you get an Arden Key.
Right.
I think there's a number of interesting options. Okay, so we'll talk about the old saying, the old
sometimes you get a Randy Gregory.
The old song by Rolling Stones. You can't always get what you want, but you try sometimes you find you get what you need.
Yeah.
All right, so Tennessee, it's easy to say, hey, they should go after the big defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons. I could, the two more likely guys are probably Arden Key and Sebastian Joseph Day.
Yes.
Okay. Cleveland, people will say, hey, go get Myles Garrett, but probably the two more likely guys are Malik Collins and Joe Tryon-Shoyinka.
Probably not going with Collins again. Just a hunch.
Yeah, just a hunch. But I mean, he's playing well. Jets have Will McDonald, Jermaine Johnson, Michael Clemens. Miami's got Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb.
Mm-hmm.
If Arizona circles the drain, they got Calais Campbell. But to me, if I was wagering on what the Niners will do, I just don't believe the price tag for Simmons or for Trey Hendrickson is going to jive with what they want to spend. So I think they, I love those players. I mean, they're great.
Yeah,
great
unquestionably.
players.
If we're playing Madden and it ain't our money, like, yeah, get those guys.
Get those guys. Yeah. I mean, Jeffrey Simmons would be my first choice. Hendrickson would be my second choice. They're both really, really good. Mm-hmm. But if you said come up with somebody that you think they're going to go after, I would probably come back and say Carl Granderson and Davin Godchaux from New Orleans, just from the standpoint. Granderson, I know he's had some off-field issues, so that always scares them away. But he's a Sacramento kid. Mm-hmm. He's playing well right now, and he's in his prime. Godchaux is a really, really good run defender. And I just think they're probably going to look at their line and say, we need both. Because Nick Bosa was a very good run defender.
Yes.
So you lose Nick Bosa, the run defender. You lose Nick Bosa, the pass rusher. I think it's going to take two guys to replace him. I mean, if you can get Trey Hendrickson, then it doesn't take two guys to replace him. But if you can't get Trey Hendrickson, it is going to take two guys to replace him. And I think Godchaux and Granderson, I could picture them being traded. Mm-hmm. Two, I think they could probably get those guys for a reasonable cost.
I bet it'd be
cheap. And I could see them. That's what I could see.
I mean, the Granderson issue is that you're taking on almost $13 million for the next 2 years on the books by bringing him in. They're not going to do that for him because he's good, but he's not that good. He's not. We're taking on $13 million. And by the way, I'm pretty sure that the contract is like a vested situation. So I can see why the Saints would want to move off him. I'm pretty sure Godchaux they just got. I'm not looking at his contract right now. My concern with that is that he's a true nose guard, which I would hope that the 49ers defensive line coaching staff is open-minded to, hey, they've lined guys straight up in zero technique this year, and they could really use somebody who can hold the damn gap because they're asking Alfred Collins to do it. He's not ready for it yet. He's doing better, but he's not ready for it yet. And, taking on double teams, it's still a work in progress. Let's leave it at that. But he's not a gap shooter. He's never shot a gap in his life. He couldn't fit into the gap. He's so big. I think Chris Krueger would just say that's not my kind of player and move on, which I think he's wrong to not be open-minded to it, but he is very steadfast in his style of how he wants defensive linemen to operate. He just wants DJ Jones. That's all he wants. He wants DJ Jones in the middle, and he wants Nick Bosa on the outside. That's his ideal. If you have to give, Eric Armstead didn't know what to do with him for years. They kept moving him to different positions, couldn't figure it out. I guess DeForest Buckner was so damn good that they're like, this is great, we'll do it. But they still couldn't figure out what technique to play him at. They want DJ Jones, 3 technique, 1 technique. They want Nick Bosa, 7 technique, 9 technique. That's all. That is the platonic ideal for a Chris Krueger, and Davin Godchaux is not that. He is awesome. He's a hell of a football player, and he fits a lot of schemes. Anything that's a 3-4, anything that uses a tight or mid front, like he kicks ass in that. I don't think I think that they'd get a veto from Chris Krueger on that.
He's, I mean, beggars can't be choosers. You can't. Yeah, you could look for the perfect guy, but it's really more important that they just get a couple different guys. They got to get a couple bodies up front.
There's always a Khalil Davis. You can always.
I mean, he didn't do anything.
That's what I'm saying. But they just made a trade last year for saying that they could make a trade, and then he didn't do anything. Jordan Jefferson, I thought, gave him 9 nice reps. They cut his ass the other day. Like there's a lot of stuff about this.
I thought
team.
I saw him today.
Maybe you did. I don't know. He's hanging out. I didn't see any press release that said he's back. They cut his ass before Thursday.
I could have swore I saw him in the locker room.
Heaven forbid you just take one of your 42 injured players and put one of them on injured reserve with a designation. Heaven forbid you do that. They just cut his ass. Now, again, they might have been able to bring him back. I don't know. They didn't pay anything to get him. It was a 7th round pick or whatever and a swap at that. But yeah, I did find that to be interesting that they, I thought he gave good reps against Jacksonville the other week.
Is there a position that the Niners ought to go after at the trade deadline that isn't D-line? Because, I mean, people will say offensive line, but there's no offensive lineman available.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Kalia Davis, by the way, is out a couple games, right? So I would imagine Evan Anderson or Sebastian Valdez may get called off the practice squad. But I mean, is there besides the D line
huge too?
What if you could add a piece besides the D line? What do you want to
add? Maybe a better backup option at nickel. I thought Oliver had a nice rep. Was it Chase Lucas or Oliver? I get them mixed up. Who's on the team now?
Chase Lucas.
Chase Lucas. They subbed him in. He played well. That feels like a dangerous game. I don't think Stout was injured. I think they benched his ass. So now that's up in the air. I think upgrading at Sam linebacker would be a positive play. Not sure how they pull that off while maintaining their just awesome special teams ace and Luke Gifford. There's a lot of spots that you would take somebody. There's not a lot of spots that have a clear upgrade because most spots are either inhabited by somebody who is already proven and established, and that's their position, or they're trying out young guys saying, hey, okay, can you prove that you're the guy here, like with Upton Stout or with, Marquise Siegel at free safety, even though there's no definition between free and strong anymore, it seems. It'd be nice to have a tight end, but you just paid Saubert, or not Saubert, sorry, he's playing like Saubert. You just played Luke Fickell. Tonjes has been good. Farrell,
Luke Fickell is the head coach.
Luke Fickell will also be available here, I imagine, pretty soon because he's about to get.
Farrell's been hugely disappointing.
He's been awful. He's been
he's not been the great run blocker, and he fumbles, and it's like,
it's a meeting with the Bobs, Lair. What is it you say you do here?
Yeah, what would you say you do here?
They don't need any more damn wide receivers. I know that they could. You can always use more. There's an old joke in the biking community that the number of bikes that you need is N plus 1, which is number of bikes you currently have as N. With wide receivers, that appears to be Kyle Shanahan's motto, N plus 1. So I don't think they need to do anything more there. I thought B-Rob actually looked pretty good, all things considered, against the Rams. Though maybe you could replace Garendo, but that's what Jordan James is theoretically here for, though maybe we'll never find out what that is. Again, this is a roster that's positioned not for clear upgrades, but for continued progress of the guys that are currently playing. And they will go the way that they go. The one spot that you can use a clear upgrade is the one spot where the player who is out is unquestionably out for the year. And that's at defensive end or just defensive game wrecker on the line. So no, not really. I mean, again, we're talking about, sub package players effectively. When I say where you'd like to upgrade Sam linebacker, I think that you could get more juice than what you're getting from Luke Gifford. And I think that you should have better insurance for Stout, but that's a tough position to make a trade at. So to answer your question in a very long-winded way, Larry, no, not really.
I would say tight end just because it's like if you can find another tight end that can help you. I mean, I don't know what, the Kittle hamstring thing is scary because he means so much to what you do. And if his hamstring is, if he had a recurrence of the hamstring, you're losing a player that you're not. I mean, Tongas is doing the best he can do. Farrell,
he's trying so hard. Farrell is not doing the best he can do.
It just doesn't. Neither of those guys can replicate Kittle at all. I just feel like they need another tight end.
But where are you getting a two-way tight end? I mean, there's so few of them to begin with. And I can't, certainly not off the top of my head, which is apparently very cloudy this evening. Like, I can't think of anybody who might be available who could even be a reasonable facsimile to a George Kittle. I can't imagine.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Robert Tonyan was on somebody's practice squad. I mean, I don't think he's terrible.
If he's on a practice squad, then those injuries have zapped him of whatever he had, and he wasn't a crazy athlete to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, there's tight ends dealt around the league. I mean, it seems like there's probably some good young tight ends that they could probably get their hands on. Sure. I don't know. It definitely seems like a position though that
they got a bad eye for that too.
If they have to lean on Tongas and Farrell, it's going to be rough. I'm with you. I don't think that's a good idea. All right. We are going to switch topics, but first, let's get a word from Sleeper. We'll do our Sleeper lineup. Sleeper brings you the Krueger Show all season long on YouTube. The 49er football season on the Krueger Show is sponsored and presented by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chats, season-long leagues, and, of course, Sleeper picks for daily fantasy, where you choose 2 to 8 players, pregame or live, and pick more or less on their projected stats. And if you're new to it, use promo code Larry. You'll get 100% deposit match up to $100 on your first deposit. The link is right there in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. All right. What are we going to go with? I think we got to go with Thursday night's game, which is Philly, New York at MetLife.
Okay.
So, Philly, of course, coming off a loss. They're looking to bounce back. They're probably, let's take a look at Cam Scatterbo. He's interesting. He had 59 rush yards last week on 15 attempts. They threw it to him 7 times.
Yep.
That's pretty good. Maybe an anytime touchdown for Scatterbo.
Sure.
That's not bad. Let's try that. Let's try more. We'll go more anytime touchdown there. Who else do you want to go with here?
What's the yardage like for Saquon this week?
Let's take a look.
Is the market corrected?
76.5 still seems a little on the high side.
Does seem a little on the high side.
Reception yards is only 13.5 receiving yards.
That's
not too bad.
That's pretty good. Those linebackers
low
for the New York Giants suck.
And they have a good rush too, so they may want to, throw some screen passes.
Yeah.
Why don't we go more than 13.5 receiving yards on Saquon?
I like the sound of that.
Let's see Dart. I think Dart's good for a pick. What's his?
Yeah, that's gonna be juice still.
What is that? Is it? He's got a half passing touchdown. They don't have any. They don't have picks.
You telling me, man?
30.5 pass attempts, 175.5 passing yards.
If you use the code Larry, they might open up interceptions for you.
What do you think? Do you like any of those?
No, I don't want to have any of my money, theoretical or not, anywhere near Jackson Dart.
All right, let's take Dart off the board. Let's go somewhere else here.
Give me A.J. Brown.
A.J. Brown. Let's see what
squeaky wheel gets the wheat. Squeaky wheel gets the grease is the saying.
Yeah.
56. I'd do it.
A little more? Yeah, more than that?
More. Yeah.
Okay. More on A.J. Brown, 56.5. Let's try one more.
Yeah.
Let's make it
what about a Wan'Dale Robinson?
Yeah, Wan'Dale Robinson I think is a good one because he's going to get the ball.
He's a spammer.
That's it? All we get is the anytime touchdown and
45
and a half receiving yards. All right, I like that because you know what? Wan'Dale could go with more than that in a win, but he could definitely go with more than that in a loss.
That's my thought.
That's a garbage time. He's going to make some catches. I would say he's probably good for 2 or 3 18-yard receptions, something like that.
Yeah.
Especially with no neighbors. Wan'Dale's their best receiver for sure. So, all right, let's go with that.
Cooper DeJean's looking a little loose these days. So
we'll see. We'll bet 5. Whoa. What do we got there?
You tell me.
4. It's a 4 for 4. Okay, so we go Scatterbo, anytime touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got Wan'Dale has to go with 46 rush yards or receiving yards.
Receiving yards, yeah.
Barkley's got to get 14 receiving yards, which just seems really good.
Love it.
And Scatterbo on the anytime touchdown and A.J. Brown over 56.5.
I wouldn't be shocked if he got it on one throw.
I know. We'll go 5 to win $61.95. I like that payout. We've been killing it on Sleeper, by the way, folks. If you are not following, you should. Big thanks to Sleeper. Remember, use code Larry for 100% deposit match up to $100. Links right in the description. Terms apply. Help support the show and gets you rolling on the #1 sports app. It's a ton of fun. We've been winning every week. And thanks to Sleeper for being a proud sponsor of the Krueger Show. Somebody's saying, I don't know tech because my camera keeps getting. I'm not sure what's going on tonight on the camera. Maybe it's a little too hot in here. I'm not really sure, but the camera has jumped off a couple times, but it has nothing to do with me.
And we all consider it merciful. Can I throw a name at you from tight end?
Yeah,
Mark Andrews.
I think he's done.
I think he's done too. I think that's a good reason to trade him. I think he's in the final year of his contract. I think if you're using him as a tight end too, you're in a pretty good position.
I don't hate it, but he also does make some money. So that's
but you're getting that prorated. It'd be 11 million. That's a cut. Sorry, let me pull this out here. You'd get whatever half a season of Alyssa. Like it'd be $5-6 million.
I don't think that's what the Niners need. I don't think they need an old player who's just trying to play out the string. I think
you're not getting a good young player at tight end these days.
Well, you never know. I mean, they could. There's a lot of bad teams out there. I mean, you're not getting Trey McBride or some great tight end, but you could probably get a Elijah Higgins off of Arizona or something like that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if Mark Andrews was. If I had more belief in Mark Andrews, but I think Mark Andrews is done. And I think we saw that at the end of last year. And they would love it if somebody would come along and take Mark Andrews off their hands. I don't think there's any question about that.
Yeah.
All right.
Some Jeremy Ruckert.
Yeah, I mean, I liked him at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the game coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of Seahawks Buccaneers.
Great game.
And the Bucs were both incredibly impressive and also not.
Correct.
And I thought they were impressive in that Baker Mayfield threw for 379 yards. He completed 88% of his passes. He, and this is on the road in Seattle. Now, granted, Seattle didn't have Devin Witherspoon. They didn't have DeMarcus Lawrence. They didn't have Julian Love, who's their best player.
Mm-hmm.
And it really showed. But Seattle is, a pretty good defensive team, even without those guys. And Emeka Egbuka just dominated. He had 7 catches for 163 yards and a touchdown. So on one hand, Baker looks unstoppable, and Egbuka looks like one of the best rookie receivers we've seen in a long time. He just looks absolutely fantastic. That's the bad news. And I don't know that the Niners have the pass rush to move Baker off the spot, and I don't know that they can cover Egbuka. They probably can, but
then you're leaving somebody else open. Sterling Shepard's a hell of a receiver. Godwin's back. Not sure what. I don't think Mike Evans is playing, so
I think Evans remains out. But
yeah,
but they are.
Cade Otton.
They've got a big time quarterback, and he can throw the hell out of it, and he comes in hotter than hell. And he's got a great rookie receiver who's feeling great. That's the bad news. The good news is that Tampa only ran for 2.3 a carry, only ran for 56 yards without Bucky Irving.
Right.
They don't seem like they've got the rushing attack without Bucky. And then Seattle gashed them on the ground for 6.1 a carry, 122 yards, and Seattle's not a great rushing team. So Tampa won the game. They were +2 in turnovers. They won a shootout, 38-35. But overall, I think the Niners saw some things that they can exploit against Tampa. I'm looking forward to this one. But how do you see the matchup? Because Baker is hot and Egbuka is a really, really tough cover.
Yeah, I agree with you on Baker. He's just operating in like a flow state right now. He doesn't know what he's doing out there. He's just making it happen, man. And that can backfire in a big way. But what stood out to me with Tampa is that their coaches are doing the most. It's so extra what they do. And I mean this as a compliment. Every offensive play that they run has like a pump, a shimmy, a fake, a roll. There's nothing straightforward, right? It's very Shanahan-esque. It's almost like Shanahan to the nth degree. And then on defense, they know they don't have the dudes. I think they have some solid players for sure. Obviously, Vita Vea is incredible. I like 90 in the middle. Logan Hall, he's really good. And Antoine Winfield's very good, and Jacob Parrish, their nickel out of Kansas State, is very good. You can make an argument about Zion McCollum. Regardless, they do a lot of just stuff. They just do stuff, and it's going to keep you on your toes. I think that it's very...
Elijah Roberts has been monster for them. The rookie from SMU has had a great start to his year.
He was a good player. He didn't pop on the tape for me, but that was just on the first watch. I don't think I marked him down here. No.
They lost Kalijah Cansey. This is that's the other thing. This Tampa team is really, really banged up. If you look at their IR list, it's pretty extensive.
They're starting Charlie Hack at right tackle. That tells you everything you need to know. But
like Jalen McMillan, Luke Kadecki, Kalijah Cansey, those guys are all on IR.
Yeah,
Cody Mock,
starting right guard is out. Starting right tackle is out. David Walker, I'm not sure is a thing. Benjamin Morrison's out. Jameel Dean is out. Yeah, listen, the Niners and the Buccaneers deserve each other at this juncture of the season when it comes to injuries. I'll say this. If there was one thing that really stood out to me watching Tampa against Seattle, which runs a very similar offense to what the Niners want to do, right? Kind of the quintessential Kubiak offense. It's coordinated by Kubiak, the former Niners quarterback. These linebackers are sitting ducks. Levante David was once an outstanding all-pro caliber player. He ain't that anymore. The fall off has been big.
Darnold threw a ball right to him. I mean, it ricocheted, but it was right to him.
And you can tell that he doesn't have it anymore because he's always kind of jumping in on the pile late. So all of these, if he has any stats, it's all because he was just getting a half tackle because he was the top guy on the pile. Servassier Dennis, who has an incredible name, Sirvocea, Servassier Dennis, is athletic and has no idea what he's doing out there. So I would argue the biggest reason the Niners won against the Rams, and the Rams had every advantage in that game going into it. I thought it was going to be a blowout for the Rams. The Niners did what the Niners have done so many times throughout Kyle Shanahan's tenure in charge, which is he took the linebackers that were susceptible, and the Rams unquestionably had susceptible linebackers, and he ruined their lives. The scheme, the processing of his quarterback, he ruined the linebackers' lives. And I think they have an opportunity to do that this week. There will be a lot of extra stuff going on compared to what happened with the Rams. But Servassier Dennis and Levante David, they're under the microscope right now, and I think Kyle Shanahan likes what he sees there.
They are banged up. Is there any word if Morrison or Jamel Dean are going to go?
I haven't checked.
They didn't go last week.
No, they definitely did not go last week.
And yet, you look at this Tampa team, and you're like, wow. On one hand, Baker's really impressive, and Egbuka's really impressive, and but then they didn't really run the ball. I mean, they ran for 2-3 a carry. They didn't stop the run. Seattle, as I said, ran for 6 a carry. And then they didn't put a lot of heat on Sam Darnold, who's not, all that mobile. 0 sacks of Sam Darnold. Only 2 hits of Sam Darnold all day. One from Yaya Diaby, the other from Hassan Reddick.
Right.
It's not a, Chase McLaughlin is a good kicker for sure. He had 3 field goals.
Yep.
And he'll make his kicks, the former Niner. But yeah, I do think that, Egbuka is interesting because Egbuka was never the best receiver on any of the Buckeye teams he was on because they always had these 5 stars. And he just always was kind of thought of as just like the hardworking guy that was in the mix. But it kind of goes to show that if you're really polished as a receiver, that means you're ready to play, highly efficient football. And, Jason Licht or liked, however he pronounces his name, targeted this guy in the first round, wanted him, and he has been absolutely a revelation. I mean, they threw him 7 balls yesterday. He caught 7 balls yesterday for 163 yards and a touchdown. And he's just so every aspect of what you're looking for, he's got. He's got size, he's got strength, he's got ball skills, he's got body control, he's got quickness in and out of the breaks. He's got, he's got so many he's a very polished, finished product. He's like a 5-year veteran, but he's a rookie. So who do you think the Niners try to match up? I mean, they don't have some of their other guys. Godwin's back, but they don't have the future Hall of Famer.
No.
Cade Otton's a tough cover. Tez Johnson is not an easy guy to cover either, by the way. The former
Tez Johnson was squirrely against Seattle.
Yeah.
He doesn't know he doesn't know the flipping plays, but he's squirrely.
4 catches for 59 yards. You just have a hard time staying anywhere around him.
Yeah.
And then Baker, Baker was 29 of 33. I mean, he's just absolutely doing anything he wants to do out there. In some ways, it's amazing. I mean, you've got reclamation projects on both sides at quarterback, Mack and Baker, which, by the way, if it was up to me, I'd much rather shop in the reclamation quarterback aisle than try to figure out if Sellers is good or Nussmeier is good or
Sellers is good. Trust me.
Sellers has a great arm, but
Sellers is unbelievable.
But Nussmeier is considered to be a top pick as well. And I saw him a couple of weeks ago. I don't like him at all. And yet his brother's an offensive coordinator. He's going to be overdrafted because of it. So I would almost rather go with the reclamation quarterback than the rookie quarterback these days.
Sure. I mean,
seems easier.
Niners have $250 million on one guy. I'm with you though. Like, and trust your infrastructure. And I'm sure that I guess there's limits to it. We just saw that in London and where did they play before that? In Ireland with Carson Wentz and the Vikings. That was pushing reclamation project to its absolute limit with KOC and Wentz. And I guess they won a game. So joke's on us. I'll say this about Ibuka. Anyone who saw him play in person understood that he was the truth, right? You're right that he was not the best receiver on Ohio State last year or the year before that. That's because Marvin Harrison was a great college receiver, unquestionably. I saw him. I've seen Ibuka play 3 times in person, and each time you're like, holy shit, he's really good, which speaks to the caliber of Harrison, who I'd seen twice, and then Jeremiah Smith, who I saw at the Rose Bowl last year against Oregon, went for 187 and 2 tutties. That was Smith, who might be the best wide receiver prospect since Randy Moss. I don't know. But Ibuka, just because he's second best on that team doesn't mean he's not second best overall. He was so clean. Body control stuff is outstanding. And, you can make the same argument for Jackson Smith and Jigba back in the day at Ohio State. And I know he had that absolutely monster game also at the Rose Bowl, but, he was the second best receiver by most accounts on his own team. But look at him now. So if you're looking for a wide receiver, just, I guess, look at Ohio State would be my argument, because they produce them better than anybody in the game right now. And I'll include Harrison there. I think Harrison still has a tremendous amount of potential that he can get to.
I mean, the guy they got now, who's a sophomore, is not even coming out this year.
Smith.
I mean, he's an amazing player.
No, it's as I just said, he's probably the best wide receiver prospect since Randy Moss.
If I said to you now, it is interesting. One of the themes of the first 5 weeks of the season has been the reclamation project quarterback, right? I mean, Baker Mayfield is, this was Baker a few years ago. He's now changed his whole career.
He's fantastic.
Look at Mac Jones. Look what Daniel Jones is doing.
Matt Stafford on his second team. I mean, no one saw this coming from him, right?
I don't know about Matt Stafford, but I'm trying to think what other young quarterback. Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold's there.
Sam
Jared
Darnold,
Goff,
reclamation quarterback.
Year. Don't ask about Geno Smith.
Carson Wentz, I guess you could argue to some degree, to
a degree. Yeah, that's about it. That's plenty, though.
Joe
Flacco. Aaron Rodgers, the underdog story of all underdog stories. Aaron Rodgers.
If you could take a quarterback that wasn't right now, You can have any quarterback you want in football.
Oh, that's a good question.
Who's not starting to build around? Who are you going to take?
Wow. Not starting.
The best quarterback in football that if you know, and obviously Kirk Cousins isn't starting, but he's an older guy.
Yeah, he's old.
Joe Flacco is an older guy.
Do you want some? How about this? Can you clip this out so that you can get all the page views, Larry? I'll just do you this service right here. What about Shadur Sanders, Larry? How come he's not getting run? I think we should clip this and put it on YouTube and get all your page views up here. The best one that I would start with. It's kind of hard not to say Mac Jones right now. It really is.
I mean, I'll give you a couple options.
I'd love some. I'm because obviously they haven't all played, so I'm just kind of trying to run through my mind on who the backup.
Okay, so who are decent quarterbacks that haven't played that are sitting around? I would say Tanner McKee.
Yeah, Philly's overhyped him. At
Eagles.
A certain point, I'm deeply skeptical of anybody that they talk about that way.
Okay, but I mean, he's not bad.
No, yeah, I don't disagree. I think he's pretty good, but yeah, I got an answer for you.
Who do you got?
I'd like to see Anthony Richardson in the new environment. I'm not saying that he deserves anything. No one deserves anything in this world, but that's a lot of physical talent. And it's not that Shane Steichen's clearly a very, very good coach. He did it with Gardner Minshew. He's doing it now with Daniel Jones. What they're doing is undeniable. But it might just not be the right fit, right? I don't know. I don't know anything about Anthony Richardson and what it is he can and cannot do, what his limitations are. I can tell you this: he can throw that football over their mountains, and he can run like really fast, and he's really big. And if I need to win, it's not a safe choice. But if I'm looking for upside, if I'm just looking for like straight upside, like it's too early to just flat out say that Anthony Richardson can't be anything because he's not physically broken yet. Now, he might never be able to do it because of what's between the ears. I can't tell you one way or another on that. It's certainly not trending in the right direction for him in that regard, if we had to venture a guess. But I would love to see Anthony Richardson in a new environment with a new opportunity, because it might just be wrong place, wrong time, and the next place might be right place, right time.
He's got huge talent. There's no question about that. Yeah. He's a major talent. I think everybody understands that, right?
Right, but like you also take into account, like he came out, he was young, he had no experience. Now he's a little older, theoretically a little wiser, and Baker failed in his first 4 spots, and it's not like they're comparable at all talent wise. But Jared Goff, they had to get rid of his ass. Like sometimes you just need a little bit of seasoning, and that can put you in a better position. And Richardson's not going to get a shot with the Colts. Like Daniel Jones is going to be their guy foreseeably for the next couple of years. So I'd like to see him somewhere else. I don't think that there's a lot of great backup quarterbacks, which makes the Mac Jones signing for 2 years all the more impressive from the 49ers. He might be a system guy, but it's a hell of a system, and he can run it. He's a great system guy. That's a compliment for a backup quarterback. For a starter, maybe a little bit derogatory, but for a backup, that's the kind of quarterback I want. I want a great system guy, and I think they have it. So that contract it's aging very, very well, Larry.
Will the Niners trade Mac Jones, or will they keep him next year?
I mean, their quarterback looks like he sells insurance most days. I mean, Brock Purdy couldn't get spotted at Santana Row as a starting quarterback. I see no reason to get rid of him unless someone wants to give you a first-round pick, which is never going to happen. So I think that he stays around. I think that they should know better than anybody that you need 2 quarterbacks if you want to do anything in this league. And every year there's a couple of teams that have playoff or even Super Bowl aspirations. Like, let's just use Baltimore as an example. I know they got a lot of other crap going on right now, but they're rolling out there with Cooper Rush, and it's like, that's an unreasonable expectation. They think that they can win with Cooper Rush trying to run, in theory, the Lamar Jackson offense. That ain't going to work. So every team in the 49ers in 2024 might be the best example of this. They roll out there with crappy backup quarterbacks and just hope that things work out for them. The most important position in football is quarterback. The second most important position in football is backup quarterback. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a shot. And it doesn't matter how good everyone else is. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a shot. I see no reason for the Niners to get cute with this thing here. They signed up for 2 years for a reason. They feel very good about the situation at hand, as they have every right to feel good about. We'll see how long Mac goes for here and how long that he can keep the horseshoe up his ass. But he's been fantastic. And having a competent backup quarterback that you can trust implicitly just says everything about what it says everything to a locker room, in that we think you have a tremendous amount of talent that you can really do stuff. We're not going to have our season sabotaged by not having a competent quarterback backing up Brock Purdy. And they have unquestionably a competent backup quarterback. I have no idea if Larry is still with us. It is now the Dieter show. I do not get to carry any of the sponsorship money, which is a real shame. I won't be doing a sleeper lineup. We already did that. I guess you can use promo code Larry. No, I don't think they're going to trade Mac Jones. I don't think they should trade Mac Jones. I think there's a lot of people out there, and I'm hearing y'all, that say Mac Jones is better than Brock Purdy and this and that. You keep this quarterback controversy, whatever you want to call it, going for as long as you can, because that means you're winning. And if you're winning, there's no reason to change the formula. And if you're winning with a backup quarterback, you are made in the shade, because that means that you have the right system. That means you have the right coaches, and that means you have the right players around Mac Jones to be successful. So I see no reason whatsoever for the 49ers to be trading Mac Jones. They have him on a song. He has already outperformed his contract. And listen, it's not as if Brock Purdy is Superman here either. It's not as if we're operating in a world where starting quarterbacks can just stand in the pocket and you hope that somebody doesn't take their head off if they get a great pass rush. These quarterbacks are out of the pocket. They're in the open field. It is a much more dangerous game. It's a much more athletic game for them. Not having a backup quarterback is roster building malpractice. The 49ers did not participate in this year after getting their asses burned by it in 2024. And I don't see any reason to go back and risk it again in 2026. So I think our man Mac Jones sticks around. The question is,
there we go.
How many more can he win? I have actually now claimed all of your sponsors, Larry. They now work for me.
Technical difficulties. Sorry about that.
Squatters' rights would be a more apropos.
Someone said Joe Schmo said Larry need to pay his YouTube bill. No, it's just we're having just some technical difficulties tonight on a Monday night.
You all need to pay Larry's YouTube bill by subscribing.
I'm not sure why. Let's hit some supers here. We do have some supers. We've got this one from Shrek. Kyle
looks like a different
different coach with Mac. Take back
talk.
Shit talk.
Shitty talk from Shrek. Coming to us from
do you think Kyle looks like a different coach with Mac Jones?
No, he doesn't look well. Okay. Looks like a different coach is a kind of a loaded premise. He's calling a different offense for Mac Jones. He's calling the Jimmy Garoppolo offense for all intents and purposes. And I said this after week 2. Mac Jones needs the best of Kyle Shanahan, and Kyle Shanahan has provided it so far. This isn't to take anything away from Mac. It's merely a limitation of Mac's athleticism. Mac can't create. Mac is a processor. Mac is somebody who can spray the ball around. He sees the field. He can deliver the football at many different levels. But he can't create something out of nothing the same way that a Brock Purdy can. And certainly Brock is not even at the top of the food chain when it comes to something like that. So Kyle maybe has gotten a little lax, maybe rested on his laurels a little bit, maybe taken his eye off the prize. These are much more detailed game plans. They're much more acute attacking game plans, going at the linebackers. Whereas with Brock, there's a lot of times where it feels like the play is, Brock figures something out. And a lot of times he does. I think that the Niners would be well served when Brock comes back, whenever the hell that might be, to maybe do a little bit more of the Garoppolo, Mac Jones offense dumb it down a little bit, keep it a little bit simpler. And I think back to Thursday Night Football last year when they went to Seattle and the offense was just helter-skelter. There was something that was just kind of off with how they were going about their offense. And Kyle just said, that's great. We're going under center, play action, classic Shanahan, Kubiak offense, and it worked great. And they were able to build from there. But it feels like the foundational pieces of this offense kind of have been pushed to the side for this experimental stuff that they've been trying to run for a couple of years. And sometimes it looks great. And most of the time it looks just kind of sloppy when they have Brock in there. They have to keep it simple, keep it basic, back to the bare bones, the offense that Kyle's been running for 25 years. When Mac Jones is in there, he operates it at a very high level. There are limitations to it, of course, that Brock wouldn't, have to bump up against. But I think that maybe paring it back a little bit, doing more Mac for Brock would prove fruitful for the Niners moving forward.
It does seem like the Niners, I mean, it's odd to me that the 49ers, the more mobile quarterback seems like the guy who's under more duress behind this line, which is bizarre, is it not? I mean, Brock undoubtedly is more mobile than Jones, but Jones looks like he has more time to throw behind this same line that Brock's behind. Why does that make sense?
Well, protection schemes, right? So you slide protection one way, you move Mac one way. I mean, I'll say this. Mac does a really good job of getting to his second and third progression, but he's throwing on the first progression most of the time. By the way, so is Baker Mayfield. I mean, if Baker Mayfield looked the other side of the field against Seattle, I missed it. Where's the first read? I'm throwing it there. And if I don't throw it there, I'm running it. Tom Moore is a special assistant. Tom Moore, the very famous offensive coordinator, used to be Peyton Manning's offensive coordinator. Tom Moore firmly believes in 3 seconds, get that motherfucker out of here. I mean, that's the quote. 1, 2, 3, throw the motherfucker away. With Baker, it's 1, 2, 3, I'm running. Like, that's it. That timer in his head is just pinpoint. I mean, it is an atomic clock right now when it comes to 3 seconds. So it is one read and go. Whereas with Mac will stand back there and he'll get to the second or third. But most of the time, and we saw this particularly in the second half against the Rams, he's just going first read. And Kyle's dialing it up to where that first read's going to be open. Again, the Garoppolo offense. That's not really how Brock goes about it. Brock will get through all 5 progressions. But to do that, he's oftentimes having to kind of make something out of nothing. And the protection schemes are not such to where, with Mac, it's we're going to slide the protection all the way to the right. Well, Mac is going right. It'd be catastrophic if that first or second read isn't open. Catastrophic. Whereas with Brock, you want to keep all 5 reads open, so you need to have a more neutral protection plan. You don't want to move him in and out of the pocket too much. You want him to kind of define where the protection needs to be. It's just a little looser, which is, I think, kind of my overall takeaway. It's just a looser offense. It's putting a lot on Brock's shoulders. He can handle it, but that doesn't mean that you should continuously do it. And I think that maybe we were kind of reaching the limit of what Brock could handle when we think back to that Seattle game. And just, again, paring it down, coming back a little bit more to the basic Shanahan-Kubiak offense, I think would do wonders, because it's clearly doing wonders when you're running the basic bread and butter stuff currently with Mac Jones.
Is Kendrick Bourne, is what we saw last week just a product of Mac Jones and Kendrick Bourne have a great rapport? Or what do you make of that? Or like, what receiver would you rather have on the Niners for the next month if you were in fantasy? You want Demarcus Robinson or you want Kendrick Bourne?
I'd want Demarcus Robinson on the basis of Demarcus Robinson is going to line up as a Z. Really depends on when Pearsall comes back. Depends on when they get a lot of guys healthy. When they get back Juwan Jennings will likely go and play X if there's no Pearsall. Here's the thing. Bourne won't see the field if Pearsall and Jennings are in the fold. He won't see the field. Whereas Demarcus Robinson will, because Demarcus Robinson is a capable blocker who happens to also know the plays for all intents and purposes, whereas Kendrick Bourne does not. But Kendrick Bourne was lining up at X. They were running a lot of slants from X. That was the first read most of the time for Mac Jones, and he was obviously very comfortable with that. I feel like that's kind of a one-off given where the Niners wide receiver depth chart was in that game.
the Niners today opened the practice window, 3-week practice window for Malik Mustafa. They took him off the PUP list. So the Niners now have 21 days to activate him from the PUP list officially or rule him out for the remainder of the 2025 season. Which, he suffered an ACL injury in the final game last year. And I guess he's gone through his progressions. He's gotten a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. What's your best guess? Is Mustafa going to be activated this week? You think it's going to be next week? Do you think they're going to put him on IR? And then who sits down for him? Is it Pinnock or is it Siegel?
I would have told you. I would have told you Pinnock, but I'm not sure on that. I still think it should be Pinnock, but that doesn't mean that it will be. I know that they're putting a lot on Siegel's plate. I know that they think very highly of him and his football IQ. I think that they want to nurture that moving forward. So I do think Pinnock will sit, but Pinnock certainly doesn't necessarily deserve to keep his job. But some of this pass coverage stuff with Siegel right now is kind of too big to ignore. And you saw in the second half when Matt Stafford's like, where's 36? That's where I throw. And even though he had good positioning, his ball skills are just not where they need to be. And he was just getting dunked on left and right. And that's kind of been the case all season. I wouldn't be shocked if they had a rotation there, especially too knowing that, that's an every down position where Mustafa, you probably don't want him playing every down to jump out of the jump. My guess would be he'd be back for Sunday Night Football against the Falcons next week, and that it would be Pinnock who would drop out of the starting lineup if indeed Mustafa gets into the starting lineup, but that they would kind of rotate all three of those guys until a duo stands out as the obvious answer. But I look forward in the future. I think that, Siegel and Mustafa could be one of the, just like an absolutely awesome safety pairing. Like, I'm really bullish about that duo.
I mean, they should fit together really, really nicely, right? Because you got Siegel who can cover and you got Mustafa who can hit, and they should be a really, really nice pairing.
And they can both do the other thing too, right? Like, we're not talking Legion of Boom, right? Like, where you got Cam Chancellor as a Sam linebacker effectively. Like, you need to be multiple. You need to be versatile at position in 2025. And I know that everyone's playing, too high all the time, but the Niners don't. I mean, the Niners are mixing and matching and throwing dudes, and they're playing a lot of cover one robber and stuff. And like, those two guys are elite chess pieces with their athleticism and their intelligence. And that intelligence aspect is so underrated when it comes to safeties. But I think needs to be the preliminary prerequisite. So I'm just very bullish on that, but I think it might be messy for a bit.
Let's hit our couple more of these supers before we bolt for the door. We're brought to you by Habbas Law, 1-800-INJURED. They will fight to make it right. Thanks to Habbas Law for being a proud sponsor of the Krueger Show. And we're big fans of Habbas Law, and they do an incredible job. And thanks to Habbas Law for being a proud sponsor of the Krueger Show. Omar Habbas and his son Tarek are fantastic people and great lawyers, and we're really appreciative that they were sponsoring the Krueger Show. For more than 40 years, Omar Habbas and his son Tarek have been standing up for people right here in Northern California. They fight the insurance companies. They know the playbook because they've been battling and beating insurance companies for decades. So they're rooted right here in the community in Northern California. If you need someone in your corner, call the firm insurance companies. Hope you never call, and that's Habbas Law. They will fight to make it right. Visit them on the website at habbaslaw.com, HABBAS law.com, 1-800-INJURED. They will fight to make it right. All right, let's go back to some of the supers here and some of the comments. We got this one from Niner Goat 16. He says, where the hell is our first round D-line pick? 0 sacks. Mikael Williams.
This guy hasn't watched football this year.
Mikael Williams has played some good ball, but he's not a stat sheet guy. I mean, he doesn't make tackles. He doesn't really sack the quarterback. If you're looking if you're going to look to tackles and sacks as a justification for the Mikael Williams pick, you're always going to be left wanting because it's just not what he does. But he does a lot of really, really, great things on the football field, including absorb blockers, keeping the second level defenders' legs free so they can roam and hit and run. And that's kind of what his job is. What is your evaluation, though, of Mikel? Because it's hard to evaluate him if you're going to point to the box score, because he really is a non-factor in the box score.
We knew that he didn't have a pass rushing back. We also know that he's 20 years old and that he had been playing defensive tackle effectively, exclusively at Georgia. And it's going to take some time there. But he's immediately come in and been an impact run stopper, which is something this team desperately needed. And with Bosa on the other side, they were a legitimately awesome tandem run stopping. I think it speaks volumes on how many different places, including zero technique, I should note. 9 technique and 0 technique. Find you a man's who can do all the techniques that Robert Saleh and Chris Kaczmarek put him in. I mean, they'll put him anywhere, and he'll give you a good rep anywhere. But all you have to do is look at the game-winning play the other day, and you go, "Oh yeah, Fred Warner, unbelievable." And then, oh man, here's
Chase
Lucas. Sorry, they shouldn't have worn the same number. Here's Lucas coming in here, and what a hit! And here's Siegel, what a hit! Look who cleared the lane. Look what Mikel Williams does at the snap. Dives inside, forces the offensive line to adjust to him, creates the lane for Fred Warner, creates the lane for Marquise Siegel, creates the lane for the cornerback who shall not be named. Like, creates the lane. That play does not happen if he just stands there or gets pushed back. But because he is in there and he played with perfect technique on the play, and the play was run right at him and it required perfect technique, the 49ers get a huge stop. People don't notice it. People don't care about it, and they're fine by that. It's not going to show up on a stat sheet. But I'll tell you this, that was the first thing they pointed out when they watched that film back. And there's a lot of plays like that when you watch the film back, and I'm hearing it from inside. Like, stuff doesn't leak out of 49-49 unless it's really positive. And there's a lot of good stuff leaking out of 49-49 from the coaching staff and the front office in regards to Mikel Williams' play. It might be a little bit of a bias because they know that I'm a Mikel Williams guy, and so they're feeding me what I want to hear. But ultimately, I haven't checked in on this, and I will. I can guarantee that they were gushing about the play that he made on that fundamental game-winning play that the 49ers had the other day, because he makes a lot of those every play in less severe situations. The fact that he can't make it in the severe situation, I think, speaks volumes.
It's so interesting that I just think that the times when Shanahan, when Shanahan is, I think, 11-7 or something like that against McVay. McVay got the one win in the playoffs. And obviously McVay has a Super Bowl trophy, and Shanahan still, that's his holy grail.
Right.
But I do think it's interesting that Shanahan always lures McVay into these macho mano-a-mano moments.
Just call it what it is, Larry. It turns into a dick measuring contest between the two of them.
It really does. I mean, there was a few years ago when the Niners went down, at Levi's, ran the ball like 18 times to start the game.
That's right.
And the Rams had a good passing attack, but they kept running Sony Michel at the Niners because they wanted to show that they could run it.
Yep.
And in this game, it's like they had already converted a 4th down where they had just had Stafford throw it to Puka, and the Niners had no way to stop it at all. No. And to me, the most unstoppable thing, maybe the most unstoppable thing there is right now. I mean, if you say, what's the most unstoppable thing in the NFL?
Stafford to Puka on the pop pass is pretty high.
Well, I was going to say maybe Mahomes to Kelsey, maybe there's a couple guys like that, a couple situations like that. Yeah. Maybe it's Purdy to Kittle if everybody's healthy and that kind of thing. There's lots of good, but I mean, one of the main go-to unstoppable things in all of football is Stafford to Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
And yet the Rams decide to run 190-pound Kyren Williams at the teeth of the 49ers remade defensive line with these run stuffers. I mean, Alfred Collins and Mikel Williams are developmental as rushers, but they're fully grown men as run defenders.
That's right.
And for McVay to run 190-pound back right at McKell and Collins when he needed a yard, when he easily could have thrown it from Stafford to Puka, and I don't think there's any way the Niners could have stopped it.
Yeah.
It just, once again, it's like Shanahan lured McVay into this, as you say, measuring contest, and that's what it becomes about. And it's like McVay would probably have a much better record against Shanahan if he would just, kind of play to his own advantages, but he's always trying to justify this toughness thing. Who's tougher? Who's more gritty?
Yep.
And you can kind of tell. It's like Shanahan has he's in McVay's head. He absolutely is.
No question.
And McVay could have won this game if he had just thrown the ball there, but instead he decides to run the ball, and the 49ers stuffed it.
I thought for certain it was going to be a play action pass. The way that the Niners played it, they were gonna either stop a running back in the backfield or give up a touchdown behind them. Like there was no alternative. I guess Fred could have made an unbelievable play, right? But they were fully committed to it. Was like cover zero, man to man, and that was just so right for just a play action boot right. Oh, look at that! There's a tight end that leaked up behind, and or even Puka, who they play as a tight end a lot, just easy money. And instead, they're like, no. And they were running it pretty well, to be fair, but not against that front and not with that line. It was embarrassing, frankly. Yeah. And and McVay kind of pops out of the fog, and it's just like, what was I thinking? Like, well, fell for it again.
Yeah, seriously. No, seriously. Try to win the game instead of trying to prove how tough you are. Chardal says, hey, hi, Larry and Dieter. I really love both of your channels. You do a great job covering the San Francisco 49ers. You two are killing it. Thank you, Chardal.
I'm killing something. I don't know what it is. Might not be it.
Yeah, exactly. But thank you, Chardal. Scotty D says, trade zone happened far from the deadline. No, Lynch made the CMC trade. You got to have faith to be faithful. Thanks, Larry, for bringing different voices, regardless how tiring debate makes us think. Oh, no, I mean, that's what we love to do. That's what we love to do, is to bring a bunch of different people who know what they're talking about all to the.
That's why we do it late at night, right?
Exactly. A couple more before we jet. Rory McPherson, Larry, I've been hearing the 49ers going after younger players. What do you think of that, Dieter? Should they do have, you mentioned they have a young core. I mean, I jumped you before with the, they're going to be better in 26, but the young core is going to be better in 26. My whole thing would be, are you trying to align with your young core? Or are you trying to align with your Hall of Famers?
Larry, they have a little something going right now, and I think you've heard of it. It's called 2 timelines, and it went really well for another team in the Bay Area.
Right.
By the way, can we just have, because the Warriors are about to start, can we just have one team that isn't going to have their entire season decided by injuries? Like, I expect it from the football team. They play a full contact sport. The Warriors going in with a starting lineup of all guys, closing 4 of all guys over 35, and just the season will be defined by injuries. It's just exhausting. But
I think the Warriors are over talked about. I really do, because when you really think about
the metrics, do not bear that out, Larry. Let me tell you.
In what way you mean?
People love to talk about the Warriors specifically.
No, but I'm not saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying as far as the amount of dialogue in relation to their chances of winning the title. I just think that there's so, I don't know. There's something that's really intriguing about the Warriors, but there's something that's also really tired about the Warriors. And I just feel like this whole thing has run its course. They're not going to win anymore. Yeah. And yet all the people that love them are not okay with that. It's like including the owner. He should be okay with it. He's won his rings, but he's not. And the fans should be okay with it. They've won their rings, but they're not.
Well, what I mean?
I don't get the sense that
I am making
Warrior
the
fans
argument
are super okay with the fact that they've had this great run and then it's over. It's like I get the feeling that they're still kind of like holding on, like they want more.
It is in all likelihood over, but it was over before 2022 as well, and they still won the title that year. And they
really? So you think there's more titles coming here? Because I don't know.
No, I don't think it's a likelihood, but I don't think it's an impossibility either.
Really?
Oh yeah, no, I think that they have a chance to be really.
I think
really
it's a
good
total impossibility.
Oh.
I think it's a total impossibility because it's a marathon, and their oldest guy kind of showed last year that he can't make it to the finish line if you lean on him. So I think that would be my.
They had to play 3 months straight of exceptional basketball just to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They won't have to. They get to play. They get to pace that out a little bit better this year. And
I hope you're right.
I think that they're going to be a very feisty team come April.
Okay,
I really do.
Yet I'm winning around.
Yeah.
2.
I think that they could make the Western Conference Finals, and they're one Shai Gilgeous-Alexander twisted ankle away.
Okay. I will say they are in the play-in and get bounced in the first.
I'll make you a bet, Larry. I think that I don't even need to go as far as I'm willing to go. I think that they're in the top 6. I feel very comfortable with that.
The play-in is 7, 8, 9, 10?
7, 8, 9, 10, yeah.
So you're saying better than play-in. I'm saying play-in.
Better than play.
All right.
There
We'll
it
see.
is. There it is.
I
was gonna go home court advantage in the first round, but I'll take the other 2 seeds as well if you're throwing them my way.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Listen, there's plenty of reason to be skeptical. No one's arguing that skepticism is invalid. It is valid. Let me tell you this: as a 37-year-old man whose right knee might just be gone now, which is a new development, which is super fun. Yeah, I'll be fine. I'm not sure how they will do this. Rick Celebrini, team MVP.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it, but I'm rooting for it. Stefan says, "Do you think Bourne is tradable?" No. When Ayuk and Ricky and JJ come back, we'll have depth. So it'd be nice to get something back now.
It would be nice.
Would be nice. It's not happening.
Nice if Larry, threw a couple shekels my way. That ain't gonna happen.
I can definitely throw a couple shekels your way. You're worth it. Scotty D says, respect to Dieter. Second half of the show made excellent points and demonstrated player knowledge second to none.
We made some halftime adjustments. We went in there, we watched the tape a little bit, and we saw what we were doing wrong, and we came out here and gave it our all. And it's a lot of respect to my research team that's behind the camera here, and thought we did perform better in the second half, but a lot of stuff to clean up. We'll watch the tape and see how we can get better.
We'll try to be better. Yeah. Michael says Brian Thomas Jr. had a career year with Jones.
Yeah, everyone has a career year with Mac Jones, apparently. They barely ran an offense last year in Jacksonville. I love how people hold that up.
Played 7 games.
I love how people hold that up as like some sort of like, oh man, Mac was really good in Jacksonville. It's like, did you watch? Like, I know you didn't. Like, I'm not asking you to have like watched the Jacksonville Jaguars, but like, did you watch the Jacksonville Jaguars? He was Jameis Winstoning that thing. He was just like wherever you just roll out whatever. He put on like 30 more pounds. He was just going for it. He had nothing to lose. And yeah, Brian Thomas Jr. had a career year, but everyone was just playing cover 4 prevent defense against him because they were up by 25 points at all given times. The Jacks sucked last year. And this is nothing. The Jacksonville Mac Jones is not even the same person that we've seen this year. They didn't have a system, much less one that he could operate at a high level like he's doing now for the Niners.
What could Mac do where it would actually be
a quarterback controversy?
A quarterback controversy and
never lose again.
Come on.
No, like
what would he have to do? Okay, honestly,
a fundamental question
before people would say, you know what, this because he already looks pretty good in the system.
There's nothing that Mac Jones can do. There's nothing that he can do. It's merely a question of how low can Brock Purdy go, because their number one skill sets are the exact same. They're both processors. They come at it in different ways. They want to attack it in different ways, but they're both processors. Mac Jones's number one skill is that he sees the field, he processes it, he can deliver the football where it needs to go. That was, at a time, what we considered Brock Purdy's best skill. And then he showed all these other things that he can do, which might not be elite level in anything, but pair that with the processor, and now you got a $250 million quarterback. So has all that other stuff gone away where he can't run anymore. He doesn't take risks putting the ball into tight windows. He doesn't have that swashbuckling mentality. He doesn't have the horseshoe up his ass, any of that stuff. If all that stuff fades away, well, now we're talking even Stevens because they're both just processors, just operating the offense.
But no, you're going back to Brock.
But that's what I'm saying.
What does Mac Jones need to do
nothing
to win the job?
He cannot
take over the job.
Anything. There's nothing.
But that's not true. You just think it's unlikely. But you know that that's not true because if the guy completed 100% of his passes and won all the games, he would. That's just the way it goes.
I said never lose again. You laughed at me, so I entered the realm of possibility.
Okay, but I mean, never lose again. But that at what point? At what point
until
does
Brock's
this become?
Contract is done.
See, this is the thing.
The problem is Brock has the 1 year over 1 year, so every year he's on the books, he gets paid for the next year.
Yeah, I think there is something Mac can do to take the job, and that's just play better football than we've seen Brock Purdy play.
It's a high bar.
It is
Brock
a high
Purdy
bar.
has MVP votes,
right?
How about this? If Mac Jones wins
that would do
the
it.
NFL, sure, that's fair.
If Mac Jones, let's say Mac Jones starts the rest of this year, and the Niners go 12-4. And then go into the playoffs and win a couple playoff games.
Right. So he's done exactly what Brock Purdy has done before?
Yeah, he doesn't win the whole thing. They lose somewhere in the playoffs, but they go 12-4 and they win a couple playoff games. They lose in the NFC Championship game.
Okay.
So,
exactly what Brock Purdy has done before in 2022.
With that, at what point do we have a real controversy?
Oh, I think that'd be a real controversy. I just don't think that it would change the fundamental argument of who wins it. Like, I think there would be a controversy well before that.
Do you believe the notion? Do you believe the notion that Mac Jones was Kyle Shanahan's choice in 2021? Do you believe that? That Mike Lombardi and the people that reported that with all kinds of zest and fire and double down in the face of Shanahan himself saying, no, I didn't want Jones. I wanted Trey Lance. And yet these people that say, no, he wanted Jones didn't. You would think that would be enough to shut him up, but it hasn't been enough to shut him up. If anything, they just double down more. So do you believe that what Mike Lombardi reported, that Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac Jones in 21? Do you believe that?
It has nothing to do with Mike Lombardi. It has everything to do with it. Every other
That's
team.
What Lombardi was the guy who was kind of known as the guy who was yelling it endlessly. And then when Shanahan said, "Hey, I wanted Lance," he's like, "No, he didn't. He basically never. He just believes."
Well,
what
John Lynch and Adam Peters did a hell of a lot of work that offseason to convince Kyle Shanahan of something that he didn't need to be convinced of then. I mean, you can ask anyone in the building there. I mean, I know that they all now, maybe the dust hasn't fully settled yet, but it was a horribly kept secret that Kyle wanted Mac. It's horribly kept. It had nothing to do with Mike Lombardi. It had everything to do with how the Niners operated in that premise. Now, Kyle.
So you believe that? You believe that Kyle wanted Mac Jones?
Fundamentally, yes.
Okay, so if that is indeed the case, that he wanted Mac Jones, then the dynamic. Now, if you really believe that,
I do.
The dynamic in the 49er world right now is probably pretty freaking interesting, because that means that there was probably some forces from within that were saying to Kyle, "Hey, go with Trey Lance," and whether it was his idea or somebody else's idea, if you believe that he wanted Mac Jones, probably it was somebody else's idea. I'm not trying to alleviate Shanahan of the blame.
And Peters brought him over.
I'm not saying that Shanahan's not to blame for it. It's Shanahan's was responsible for everything they do football wise. So he's responsible for taking Lance.
That's
I'm
right.
not trying to absolve him of it.
And
I'm
that's
just
why
saying
he
that
can say with the straight face that he didn't actually want Mac Jones, because he was eventually convinced off of that point by very ardent arguments from the other side.
I guess my point is this.
Arguments.
It's quite the dynamic at play if indeed Kyle Shanahan really wanted Mac Jones as a quarterback on any level. The fact that he now has him, and he's calling plays to support this player, and there may be other people in the room there may be people in the organization that he's like, they're privy to all these private conversations that you and I were not privy to. And for all we know, Kyle Shanahan's saying every time he walks by certain guys in the hallway, fucking told you so. I told you. I told you I wanted Mac, and this is why I wanted him. I wanted him because I could do this and this and this. I told you I wanted him because I think he fits in this way, that way, this way. Do you think there is some of that? I mean, because we're never going to know. I mean, Kyle Shanahan's never going to come out and say, hey, by the way, Mac, I wanted Mac Jones way back when.
So smart,
and I am talking so much S to this guy and that guy and this guy who really pushed hard for Trey Lance. He's not going to do that because they're going to speak with one voice. But
it's going to come
up. Do you think the dynamics are as Brock or as Mac is playing, and Kyle, if he was really his handpicked guy, he probably, as Mac plays well, is somewhat vindicated from within his own organization? Or do you think that's going on right now? Because nobody talks about it ever. Nobody ever talks about this, Dieter. And this actually
really it seems to be a very ardent topic of conversation in the text chains right now.
Well, I mean, I don't know, man. I haven't heard any Niner media people at all talking about what could be going on behind the scenes in the 49er, behind the Niners scenes. Because Shanahan might have wanted.
Question of now. It's not a question of now. It's a question of later, because it will come up again, but it's not germane to anything they're doing now. I'm sure Shanahan feels an incredible sense of self-assurance. Totally. But he's also got a lot of shit to do. You know, Kyle doesn't talk to that many people throughout the week. You know, he kind of would prefer not to in many cases. And I'm sure that, you know, every conversation between him and John, it gets brought up a little bit. But here's when it's going to show up. It's going to show up once this season's over and they get into draft time. And Kyle, who has openly and certainly behind the scenes given more and more power to John as part of an agreement so that they could both keep their jobs. Like, we're going to let John do a lot more of this. I'm going to delegate. I'm not going to pull rank. That Ayuk thing will never happen again. Like, I'm just not going to do it. Like, he knows that he has the ultimate power, but he has handed a lot of that off, both publicly and behind the scenes, though he'll pop in every now and again. Does he feel a bit more emboldened to pull rank moving forward, having seen that he was right about Mac Jones? Now, I will also point this out. We all like to have the little butterfly effect sliding doors game of, like, what could have happened. Kyle Shanahan spent the first year of his 49ers head. He wasted the first year of his head coaching career with the expectation that Kirk Cousins was going to be there on the other side for him. Right? Oh, we'll just get Kirk. And that didn't work out. It did not work out at all because Jimmy Garoppolo shows up. And it's like, well, I guess
I think they may have gotten a little impatient, right? Because they were losing a bunch of games. And they saw an opportunity that they didn't have before.
And it was a great opportunity that was solely given to him, right? It was a gift from, they had their nonsense going on with the Patriots, and it was a gift. Bill Belichick called Kyle Shanahan personally and offered him for a second, take it or leave it. And you're like, I guess we have to take it, but it's not something that you could have foreseen because they all thought that Garoppolo was going to be Brady's heir apparent. So getting him for a second, you take it. But that messes up your plans. And, things worked out okay, this and that. The idea that there's a mutual exclusivity of who Kyle Shanahan can like, I think, is foolhardy. Kyle Shanahan was as ardent as anybody throughout the contract process for Brock Purdy to pay Brock Purdy whatever the hell he wanted. Brock Purdy saved Kyle Shanahan's job. None of this happens without Brock Purdy. So again, everyone wants to make it a quarterback controversy, and I understand why. That's easy stuff. Why is it a problem to have two quarterbacks that can win you games? Like, why would Kyle Shanahan view this as anything other than I'm the luckiest boy in the whole wide world? Because I have two quarterbacks, no matter who I put out there, I feel confident they can win me the game. Like, is that a controversy or is that a coach's dream? Oh, wow, there might be some politics.
Well,
Not
it's volatile.
really. Not with the
it's
money.
a volatile situation. I mean, it in an ideal world, it works out smoothly and everything's great. Yeah, it's great to have two quarterbacks. Some people say if you have two, you don't have one. But
I think those
agree.
people have never had none.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that it's a positive to have two quarterbacks you can win with.
Is Mac Jones sniping Brock Purdy behind his back? Is Brock Purdy out here?
I don't get the sense of that.
I don't get that at all. I think that Mac Jones knows that he's going to get a couple more starts here, maybe down the line a couple more starts there, and then he'll be on the Sam Darnold path, which has been very fruitful for Sam Darnold.
Do you think Mac comes to the Niners and says at the end of the year, "Hey, look, you got me under contract next year for $7 million, but I had a good year for you. How about you trade me somewhere and let me start somewhere?" Because now there will be teams that will, if he continues to play the rest of this year the way he played against the Rams, there will be teams that will be really, really, really excited about the idea of paying him $7 million next year to be their starting quarterback.
Yeah, show me how excited you are.
If you're the 49ers, do you do what's in your best interest or do you do what's in Mac's best interest? Does Mac come to you and say, "Hey, Brock's your guy, trade me to the Raiders"? And then do you have to trade him to the Raiders, or is it more valuable to have a $7 million backup who you think you can win games with?
I mean, it's definitely more valuable to have the $7 million backup, which is the reason why he has the trade value. The flip side of that is you don't have to do right by him at all. He's a big boy and he signed a 2-year contract. I'm certain that 1 year was brought. He signed a 2-year contract. I'm sure he wanted the term. I'm sure he wanted some separation from the Mac Jones experience that was. I mean, you hear about how Darnold talks about working under Purdy and how it made him a new quarterback. I'm sure Mac Jones wanted some of that. I'm sure he wanted the Shanahan shine. Now, if he keeps playing the way that he's playing, this is a situation where everyone could be happy, because I don't think the Niners are going to go out there and shop him. And I certainly don't think they're going to do right by him by putting him on another team, if so be it. Show me how much you want Mac Jones.
What's he worth? What do you want?
I would say that it would have to be a top 50 pick.
If the Mac Jones that we saw last week in LA is exactly what he is,
I think that's fair.
What do you want for him? If you're going to move him, what do you want for him? Or do you just want to keep him?
I would want to keep him unless someone can give me a top 50 pick in the upcoming draft.
Top 50. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is first or second round pick, basically.
Effectively.
Yeah.
Which it almost certainly would be, because what good team is asking for Mac Jones? They would be the teams at the bottom of the second round.
Well, it's funny. After watching Daniel Jones play so well and watching Mac Jones play so well, I bet you the Reclamation Project quarterback might be in vogue. We'll see. I mean,
especially
I don't know
if anyone gets their hands on some Nussmeier tape.
Oh, he's bad. Yeah,
I don't know what everyone. Him and at least Aller, I can see it.
How about Arch? How bad's Arch? How bad's Texas? By the way, Texas is totally crap.
Yeah, it's a bad situation.
Arch is not a good quarterback.
No, it's so fast for him right now. It's it's just insanely fast, and it's this is kind of it. There's some Trevor Lawrence in this. Now, I will say that Trevor Lawrence was successful from the jump at Clemson and all that, but this is why I'm always a little bit wary of the superstar quarterback who aren't Arch is a very good athlete, but he's not 99th percentile athlete. So he's got all this shine on him, right? And he's playing high school football in New Orleans, which is Louisiana produces more Division I players per capita than any other state, but it doesn't have the elite of the elite. He's playing Catholic school in New Orleans. I'm not sure that stacks up with South Florida, the Atlanta suburbs these days, maybe even the DMV, certainly not the Metroplex or Houston. It's more like LA to LA, I suppose. So this kid has just been, Jesus walking on water since he was 14 years old. And now he's in the SEC against full-grown men who have been in college for 7 years because of the COVID rules. And you just expect him, oh, well, he sat out a year. Pretty different. And so you're getting all the growing pains for a team that had national title expectations. It's not unfair to him because he signed up for it. But it is kind of unfair with all the expectations, like externally, because his last name is Manning.
Well, I mean, first of all, Texas got a pretty good defensive team, but guess what?
They lost a lot of talent.
Their defense is just another defense in the SEC. I mean, LSU's defense is probably as good or better than their defense. And it's just one of those things where
talk to me about Harold Perkins.
Harold Perkins is a great athlete. I mean, but as LSU's defense put the blanket on Florida's offense, where Florida's offense made plays all day against Texas.
Texas is in a bad spot, and it's clear that Sark doesn't know how to coach his way out of it either.
Well, they're just not. They can't do it in the SEC. I mean, these teams have way more talent. Bill M says, Larry, when do you do your sleeper picks? Well, we just did it
1 hour and 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, we did it earlier. Stefan says, is Mac good because of his weapons? Born MVS Tongas? No.
Goes without saying. No, obviously. I mean, those are guys. It's like Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and I mean, hell, just throw a healthy Tyreek Hill in there, and that's the same thing.
Mac is good because he can process. The ball comes out on time with accuracy. He's got football smarts, and
he's tough as hell.
Yeah, I mean,
that really matters.
He was really, really effective at Alabama, and a lot of those same traits he still has. So it's he plays on time. Josh B says Brock's arm strength and height limits him from ripping the ball on first reads. Baker and Mac have better arms for short to intermediate throws. I don't think.
Not sure I'd use the height limit argument and then say Baker Mayfield is the counter.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield's the same height. I mean, they're literally the same height. They're both 6'1".
They're both itty bitty, but yeah.
They're both. Baker's got big hands though, and that's how he can rip it. We got this
long
one
wind up too.
Josh Beast is Brock's. Okay, we got that one. We got this one here. Heated heavy. Dieter, don't you have some babies to attend? You're going to have a long day tomorrow, man. Go Niners. Look at that. He's worried about your babysitting. We got this
ain't
one.
Wrong.
NVIX Media. I've yet to see Brock Purdy win without the Avengers. That's not true. He's won some games without them. All right, that's going to do it for us. Dieter, what do you got cooking?
Week one.
Yeah, week one. There you go.
I don't know what I have cooking, Larry. I've got some babies to attend
when are you next on the leader? Wednesday?
I'm supposed to be on Friday. We'll see if that works out.
What time?
Story. I'll follow you.
Okay. All right, there you go. That's going to do it for us. We're 2 hours in. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to our sponsors, Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to Sleeper. Thanks to Habbas Law. Thanks to Claudette Arcades and of course Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles.
Yes,
good stuff. I'm back tomorrow on the radio at 6:00. Normally we're going to be 6 to 7, but after the Monday Nighter, we come on after the football. So that was why we're on later today, but we'll see you tomorrow at 6. Dieter, I'll give you the final word. Are the Niners gonna give me a prediction for, because this is the last time we'll stream before the game.
Yeah.
Give me a prediction on Niners Buccaneers. Is this going to be one of those games where the Buccaneers win big? Is this going to be a close game the Bucs win? Is it going to be a close game the Niners win? Or do you see the Niners going to Tampa and winning big?
Give me Tampa close. Give me a slop fest. Just a disgusting, no good football game. Maybe it's only Tampa close because of sort of a backdoor tightening, but give me ugly. That's what I expect. Maybe fun, but give me ugly.
I kind of agree with Dieter. I kind of think it's going to be Tampa in a shootout. I'm going to say 28-24 Tampa. Another good performance from Mac, but the Niners defense, I think this is the game that we come out of saying they really got to trade. They really got to make a deal.
Probably, you know what I mean? Right. I'm with you on that.
So anyway, for Dieter, I'm Larry. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the Krueger Show. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful.